Hello there, this is Tom Lee. I'm the Chief Investment Officer of Fundstrat Capital and the Portfolio Manager of the ETF GRNY Shots, ticker GRNY. This is our update of the GRNY Shots ETF for the week of December 8th. First, I just want to give you some details. The expense ratio of this fund is 0.75% per year. That expense ratio is taken out every day and is reflected in the NAV of GRNY, which is currently $21.10. And total assets have reached $563 million. Hopefully you had a chance to tune into our monthly webinar for the GRNY Shots ETF that was held on Thursday, December 5th at 1 p.m. If you did miss it, the replay is available on our YouTube channel at Fundstrat Capital. That's where all of our videos are, at youtube.com/@Fundstrat Capital. If you want to be keeping up with everything happening at Fundstrat Capital and the media, just make sure you subscribe and hit the like button and notify as well. We received several questions this week. I wanted to highlight one in particular. This is a comment from Trade the Data. He said, DCA still active on GRNY. Now, if you're not familiar with what DCA means, that means dollar cost average. I wanted to take a moment here to explain why I think that's a very sound approach to investing in general. Dollar cost averaging means you buy a stock at a set interval. That could be monthly, or it could be weekly, or it could be whenever it dips, so you buy the dips. Dollar cost averaging is a good investing habit, number one, because it really makes you disciplined. Second, I think it really reorients people to be long-term oriented, or what we call long-term greedy, especially the idea of buying dips. That really comes into your benefit, and that's something that I learned as a strategist for the last 15 years. And the third is that you don't have to worry about market timing anymore. You don't have to say, I need to buy the exact bottom. In fact, it's gonna prevent you from rage selling or FOMO chasing. So dollar cost averaging, I think, is a sound approach to investing in general. Let me give you a recap of the weekly performance of GRNY. GRNY was up in the past week, up 1.89%. The S&P had a good week, up 99 basis points, or almost 1%, which means that GRNY outperformed the S&P by 90 basis points. Since inception, GRNY Shots is up 5.5%. The S&P is up 2.88%, which means GRNY Shots' relative performance is 262 basis points. Now let's look at the holdings. This is sorted from the best to worst for the past week out of the 37 stocks. We've also listed here the theme membership for you as reference, but as you can see, the majority of the GRNY Shots outperform the S&P, because the S&P is really right here at number 21. And here are the top 5 performers: Tesla, Amazon, Meta, Arista, and Axon Enterprises. To me, I guess in simple terms, this is actually the return of the Mag 7 relative performance in the past week. And much of the Mag 7 is actually in the GRNY Shots, but that is not the only things in GRNY Shots, as you know, because it's based on themes. In terms of the bottom 5, the worst performing stock here is Progressive Corp, which you probably recognize is the Progressive Auto Insurance Company. In some ways, they've been a beneficiary of inflation, especially car inflation, because it's allowed them to raise premiums. Now, it's had a bad week, but look at the long-term chart. Well, if this is the one-year chart, it still looks pretty good. So I wouldn't be too worried about 1 week of underperformance for Progressive. In the week ahead, there are some earnings releases affecting GRNY Shots. Oracle is reporting Monday after the close. Costco is reporting Thursday after the close. There's also 2 shareholders meetings this week on Tuesday, one for Palo Alto Networks and one for Microsoft. And finally, to recap, because you may wonder, what is a GRNY Shot? It's referring to Rick Barry's style of throwing free throws. A type of free throw, which is underhanded, which was really made very famous by Rick Barry, who's an NBA Hall of Famer. On the left is Shaquille O'Neal shooting a traditional free throw shot. On the right is Rick Barry doing it underhanded, which is the correct way to do it from a physics perspective. It just doesn't look as cool, but it has a higher win ratio. And that's what we're trying to do with GRNY Shots. We have long-term themes we're thinking about: millennials, global labor suppliers, rise of automation, energy, cybersecurity, as well as easing financial conditions. And I think I'd call that the Fed put along with the Trump put now. Both care about the stock market and easy financial conditions. There's some tactical things here too, like style tilt, seasonality, and the PMI recovery. And all together, we say, take these themes and what stocks appear most frequently across those themes. And if you zoom in here, these are the strongest granny shots because they appear in more than one theme. Now, there's full information in the fact sheet or the prospectus. You can find that at grannyshots.com. And here is the investment management team. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.